Hi guys, my name is Megan, and today I've got some of my current bookish obsessions for you. Alright, so today we're talking all about some of my current bookish obsessions, the books that I've kind of really fallen in love with the last little bit, and like I'm obsessed with them, so let's go ahead and dive right in. Alright, so first up is going to be The Flowered Blade. This is a newer read for me. I read this in end of March, early April, I think, and I loved this to pieces. This is following an autistic trans elf prince, and he is captured by the orc chief and held hostage basically in exchange for getting taxes reduced, trade being increased, you know, that kind of political things. There's a lot of politics in this, but also it's really fun because the elf prince is very into plants and things and books and basically just a giant plant nerd. And the orc chief is very into being a good leader, that kind of thing, and they are kind of just thrown together through this whole thing, and it's forced proximity romance, it's a little bit of an enemies to lovers romance, and it's very much two idiots falling in love with each other, and I love it to pieces. This is such a good book, and it's literally all I can think about sometimes, and it's just so sweet, and it's definitely not for those under 18. This is very, very spicy, very steamy, very smutty, but like in all the best ways. It's fantastic. Next up I have the Mead Mishap series. This is one I just can't stop thinking about. I think about this series constantly. It's one of those fantasy series that does not take itself too seriously. This had me, like the whole series had me laughing, giggling, and kicking my feet. It's also very, very spicy and smutty and just so much fun. This first one is following Cinnamon, who doesn't want to be the chosen one. When the chosen one is chosen, her village has a party, and Cinnamon gets drunk at that party, and on her way home, she happens to save a demon. From there, it sets off Cinnamon going on the adventure that she did not want to go on and rescuing all the demons from a curse that they've all been under for centuries and making some new demon friends and bringing them back home to her village. And just like, yeah, it's so much fun, and like it's so full of adventure and romance and just the funniest dialogue. And it's one of my current favorite series of all time, so it's one that I'm just like obsessed with. Next up is the North Shore Titans series. So this one just came out of left field. This is like if the Necessary Evil series and All for the Game had a hockey romance love child. So it's following it's a darker romance set in college about a college hockey team. These hockey boys are unhinged and like a little bit psychotic, and I don't know what it is about this series. It's just so addicting. The books were really short, but there's a lot of story packed into the story, or into the books, and it's just one that I just can't get enough. I read the first 2 books and the first short story, and as of filming this video, I just started the 3rd book, and it's so good so far. Like, this is just like the unhinged sports romance series. If you're looking for something completely out there, this is one to go for. Next up is The Nightmare Before Christmas and Go Luck Yourself. These are the first 2 books in the Royals and Romance series. This is like if the Santa Claus met the Rise of the Guardians and Red, White, and Royal Blue and had a baby. This series is filled with the politics of a holiday like the royal family, and first one is following Cole, who is the Crown Prince of Christmas, and he's just a little bit of a fuck up, and he takes that to heart, and following him as his dad is forcing him to get into an engagement with the Princess of Easter and get married, and so they can consolidate power, that kind of thing. And one of the other big holidays, Halloween, has an issue with that, and that's kind of where the synopsis differs from what actually happens in the story. It's a lot of politics, it's a lot of maneuvering around to try to fix the things that have been broken about a holiday, and it's so much fun though. But like I said, it's Santa Claus meets Rise of the Guardians and Red, White, and Royal Blue. Go into it with a grain of salt, knowing that this is a lot more political than the synopsis makes it out to be. It's fantastic, and especially if you're reading it at the right time, and it just hits. So the last books I'm going to talk about are the Sunshine Court books. So book 1, The Sunshine Court, and book 2, The Golden Raven. All for the Game has been a massive bookish obsession for me since I read the first one. But these 2, oh my god, these 2 just ripped my heart out and stomped on it and put it back together and stomped on it again. All for the Game is the sports mafia college sports romance you didn't know that you needed in your life. And the Sunshine Court books are the second trilogy, and these are following Sean, who has just kind of escaped survived being in an abusive cult-like situation for the sports team that he was playing for, and is getting to play on a new team, and also dealing with the fallout of being in a sports cult. Yeah, these books will stomp on your heart and put it back together and stomp on it again. And since the third book is out, it hasn't put it back together yet. But I'm just obsessed with these books. Don't get me wrong, I love Neil, Andrew, and Kevin, but reading about John and Jeremy and Kat and Layla, just a whole other level. Alright, so those are some of my current bookish obsessions. What is one of your guys' current bookish obsessions? Let me know down below. If you guys like this video, don't forget the like button. If you haven't already but would like to, go and hit the subscribe button. And if you'd like to follow me on social media for more bookish stuff, check out the links down below. Alrighty, bye guys!